Hello there, I'm John Zimmerman with Table Rock Trout Unlimited. We're going to do a series on jig hook flies, and the first of those that we're going to work on is a fly that Steve Heritage fashioned, and he calls it the Burning Ring of Fire, and you'll see why it's called that after we get to tying. It's a very simple fly to tie. It only has a couple of materials that you're going to tie in, and we're going to start with a highly fluorescent thread that we're going to take way back into the bend of this hook. Our tailing material is going to be a material that's caught a lot of attention in the last several years, called Coq de Leon, and that's going to be our tailing material. We're going to tie our tailing material in right here after we elongated that hot spot down the bend of the hook just a little bit. So this is a Coq de Leon fiber tail, Coq de Leon feather that we're going to use the fibers for to create our tail. If you can see that, don't know if the camera's focusing in or not, but lots of speckling in all of the individual barbs for those feathers, and they make absolutely great tailing material. They're tough as nails, they last forever once they're tied in a fly. So we're going to tie these in, and on my jig hooks for competition flies, I usually like a tail that's a little bit longer than what the standard old original flies called for. It's like them hang out a little bit longer than the original old adage of the length of the gap of the hook. I'm going to bring that back forward. Now from here you could tie in any color thread that you desired. Black, I'm going to do black for the purposes today. I keep this in yellow, I keep it in olive, I keep it in brown. I love black with the pink hot spot. Love it. So we're done with this pink thread. The hot spot on this fly is at the back. And so now we're going to start with our black thread and cover up the pink and begin the brief taper of this body. Now when this is my take on Steve's fly. When Steve originally tied this fly, the hot spot was between the tail and the end of the black here, but I like to tie the hot spot in at the behind or below the tailing material. I think this gives it a little bit of a different look that the fish don't see as often. So all we're doing here is working on a taper, and we're not going to put much of a taper in here because we want this fly to sink pretty quickly. We want the overall body image of this fly to be pretty skinny. Okay, now we are going to take a second and whip finish this. We're not totally done, but we're almost done with this fly. Because this is a thread body fly, we need to do something to protect those threads in case a fish, or when a fish nicks them, because fish will eat this fly a lot. So we're going to take a little coating of Sally Hansen's. You could use the goo material for this for sure. Any of the UV products. I am personally partial to the Deer Creek materials. Those really do meet their advertisement and dry completely tack-free. So in order to, all we're looking for is a little bit of protection on those feathers. This will dry hard as a rock, so I'm just dabbing it to speed that process on just a little bit. And to finish this fly, all we're going to do is tie in a dubbed collar. You could do any number of colors. I'm going to use a black peacock ice dub. There's enough flash in this to keep fish interested, and we've got a lot of attractant in the back of the fly with that bright pink fluorescent hot spot, and just enough of a collar to give the impression. And this is a serious competition fly, and one of the reasons it's a competition fly for serious competitors is there is nothing really on this fly to hold water, to keep it, to not hold water, to grab water and keep it from sinking. So this is an absolutely wonderful bug for competition purposes because it will go straight to the bottom when it is put in. And I want to show you what that fluorescent hot spot is going to do when it's in the water. So you can see how that absolutely just lights up. Now, I have heard in places that fish have UV rays that come out of their eyes. That is not true. But what is true is fish do see UV spectrum lighting, which we do not. I mean, we can only see it when some UV light hits it and makes it burn. But the fish will see that hot spot light up in there. So whenever you are using hot spot materials, you want to make sure that the thread says fluorescent. If it doesn't say fluorescent, you're not really going to get the hot spot effect on it. So that is the first in our jig series of flies. Again, super easy. You can knock a bunch of these out in a little bit of time, and this fly will ride like this in the water because it's tied on the jig hook. So the hook point is going to be up on it when it's in the water, so you won't lose as many of them or have as many of them get snagged. So get to tying, and let's catch some